Oh, hey there. Come on in. We're just about to start. Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian, a fun weekly podcast about nutrition and healthy lifestyle. I'm Rob, and together with my wife Sandra, we invite you to join us on this informative and entertaining journey through the complex world of healthy eating.
Join us each week as we strive to help you with transforming your overall health and relationship with food through up-to-date, evidence-based nutrition information. Hot flushes are a common symptom of menopause and andropause for men, plus other conditions. Today we discuss what hot flushes are, what is happening inside our body, and why we experience these troublesome symptoms. Also, we go over some common hot flush triggers and what to do about them. We distill the conversation into 5 easy takeaway strategies to help people cope with their daily hot flushes. Stay tuned.
Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Rob.
Hello, Sandra.
Hi. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Today we're talking about hot flushes and strategies to help.
Okay.
Yeah. There's lots of people having hot flushes for a variety of reasons. And we're going to talk about what are hot flushes or hot flashes, some people call them, like the symptoms, why we get them, the triggers, what to do, and then 5 strategies to help reduce hot flushes.
A hot flush. That's like a plumbing thing, right?
Yeah, right.
It's when your toilet's all jammed and you call the plumber and he gives it a hot flush and it's all fixed.
Oh, interesting. Is that really a thing?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Could be a thing.
Well, some people call them hot flashes.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Like, what's the difference?
It's just terminology.
One's a plumbing thing and one's like a menopause thing.
Maybe. And it's not just menopause.
Oh, okay.
There's also andropause, so men having hormone changes too.
Okay. So that's not menopause? That's a different. It's just, it's so confusing. I'm glad you're going to explain it all to us. We'll be all clear by the end of this.
Well, that's one of the symptoms is brain fog.
Maybe I'm having hot flushes. Maybe I need a hot flush. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe when you have hot flashes, you need to get a hot flush to get rid of the flashes.
Right. Oh, you're so
Sandra's
funny.
just shaking her head at me going, oh man, I got to deal with this guy again.
Well, for years, we taught groups for women having breast cancer treatment. So they were having hot flushes. Women with menopause have hot flushes. Men having androgen deprivation therapy. So men having prostate cancer treatment, and they have hormone changes. So really it has to do with hormone fluctuations. And so a hot flush is a sudden and intense feelings of warmth, sweating, flushed face. And also people can have night sweats. Their blood pressure can change. They can get heart palpitations. They can have other symptoms associated with hormone changes and menopause. Could be weight gain or muscle and bone loss, brain fog, as I mentioned, sleep disruptions because of the hormone changes. So there's a lot of daily
symptoms.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah. It sounds like things are happening because of the hormone change. You said, right?
Yeah,
and it causes all these things to happen, or some of them.
Yeah, exactly. And part of it is it's a thermoregulation in the brain. So it's kind of like this internal thermostat that we all have. And then it's changing because of the hormone fluctuations for the estrogen, the progesterone, for men, the testosterone. So all this kind of swings can really affect that thermostat in our brain.
Okay.
So you know what a thermostat is.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
And you know when you put it up too high, then the room gets hot and you try to cool off. So that's kind of happening in the brain.
Right. That makes sense. And it's most common with menopause?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, that's in our society, and that's we might do another episode on this, but it's interesting in North America, there tends to be more symptoms related to menopause, and hot flush is a big symptom, than other countries like in China and Japan and different places where there's, there is a obviously lifestyle component. And that's what we're going to be discussing about what you can do with your diet and lifestyle to reduce those hot flushes.
Excellent.
So what are some of the triggers, do you think, that might bring on hot flushes for people?
Like triggers, I'm not sure. Like stress, maybe?
Yeah, that's exactly. Oh yeah, that's a big one. I think that's probably the number one.
Like when you say trigger, like are you triggering like the hormone change that's already occurred and then the symptoms get triggered after, or are you triggering the hormone change?
I think the hormones are changing and your body is triggered with certain influences, like outside influences.
I see. Okay.
So like caffeine is a really common one.
So the hormone sort of changes the state of your body, and then certain things trigger the symptoms.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So caffeine, I mentioned spicy food. It's a big one.
Sure, that makes sense.
So anything that's going to cause your blood vessels to dilate. So, anything with chili peppers. And actually that's two words, like the chili and the pepper, like black pepper even, can be like a trigger because it's spicy.
Yeah, spicy stuff. And alcohol maybe?
That's a big one.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All alcohol. So it's actually the alcohol, not just the drink. So it could be red wine. It could be, gin or rum or beer, like all alcohol. So anything with alcohol can be a trigger.
Right. Okay. Sex?
It's not on my list.
Perfect. Okay. Just checking.
But,
just because if that becomes an excuse one day, then I'll be like, hey, it wasn't on the list.
That's so funny. I think that's a really good question. I think that actually helps with stress and anxiety.
Oh, I like that answer.
Well, I mean, I think it's one of those things that would be a calming, like help with blood pressure. Like it's actually probably a help with symptom management. So people can listen to the sexy foods way back, like episode,
6?
Yeah, 6
5,
or
7.
Like yeah, way back. And those ones are really good because it talks all about a lot of the foods that we're talking about now that actually can, like spicy foods are one of those foods that actually dilate your blood vessels and flushes, like make your face flush.
So you're saying we shouldn't eat those, but sex is good. I'm confused.
Let's just go back to the hot flush triggers.
Okay.
So it's like caffeine, alcohol, spicy foods. Those are all triggers that can bring on a hot flush.
Okay.
Wearing tight clothing. So if you don't have much room for your body to perspire or sweat, that can aggravate a hot flush.
Right. Yeah. It kind of makes sense. You're locking that heat in.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a way, right?
Yeah. And actually just drinking hot beverages. So it doesn't have to be something with just caffeine. It can actually be like a hot herbal tea. If the temperature of the tea is very hot, that could actually trigger a hot flush too.
Interesting.
Yeah. Or having a hot bath or sauna.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
So anything where the temperature's hot. So summer, like a really hot day in the summer can actually make you feel flushed and bring on those hot flush symptoms.
Gotcha.
And physical activity that is increasing your heart rate. So you're sweating, you're maybe running or something, or doing something that's physically exertion. Mm-hmm. Physical exertion can bring on a hot flush. And also medications. Okay,
yeah, that's kind of makes sense. You're changing the state of your body with medication, so that could have a side effect, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I remember hearing that on the warnings when they give you those big long warning lists with medications and may cause hot flushes.
Yeah.
Is one of them.
Right. Yeah.
But they say it really fast. All right, what's next?
Well, what to do? Like, what do people do about hot flushes and how do you reduce those triggers?
Well, I guess don't eat spicy food. Don't avoid that stuff, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Is kind of the obvious.
Well, one things you could do is actually start a food and symptom diary or a journal.
Oh, smart.
And actually kind of track it it's just like anything where you're kind of wondering, so maybe you're wondering about money. So then you start a budget and you look at, okay, where are we spending money and where are we saving money? So it's just the same kind of thing. But with hot flush triggers, you can go, okay, this is affecting my quality of life. I'm going to start jotting down when they're happening after, like, I eat something or I drink something or I do something and I get a hot flush. So if there are certain foods in your diet or certain things you're doing in the day that bring on a hot flush, then you'll have a better record of it.
Gotcha.
And then you'll be able to track it and then see and then reduce those things. Like you said, maybe don't have spicy foods if that's going to cause a problem for you.
Yeah. So it might, those triggers we mentioned might not necessarily trigger everybody. So that's why you're saying if you test it and kind of decide whether or not it has an effect on you, then you can say if it's in the good list or the bad list.
Yeah, not test, but track it. So if it's something like, if it's just something you do anyways, like if you have a coffee and then you realize, oh, within 15 minutes to half an hour, I feel flush. It's either the caffeine or it might be because it's a hot coffee or it might be a combination.
I see.
So just those kind of ideas, like just trying to
pay attention to the effects that it has.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Like monitoring yourself and tracking, that kind of can be a really helpful way to determine what's causing hot flush triggers for you.
Right.
Because they're not the same for everybody. Also just like breathing. So meditation, deep breathing, yoga, those kind of activities can be quite helpful for like just helping you feel calm, reducing that stress and anxiety that you mentioned.
Yeah, nice.
And on Nutrition Nuggets 4, we did a guided meditation. And there's also another Nutrition Nuggets, a walk on the beach and a walk through the forest, I think. So those ones are good for people that if you want to listen to a meditation, or there's other apps out there like Calm and different apps that you can get regular meditation practices on.
Yeah, perfect. Look into those.
Definitely. Also clothing. So making sure that you're wearing clothing that's not too tight and it wicks away. Like, so the fibers can really affect, like polyester would be something that would track or like keep your,
like the old K-Way jackets. I remember those things. You used to sweat like a dog in those things. Do you remember? Because that's what they were made out of. And they like keep the rain off or the wind or whatever. But yeah, you just sweat buckets underneath them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's lots of information out there on the internet about what fibers are best for people having hot flushes. And there are, like, cotton is actually not great because it gets wet. And then, people who have night sweats or night flushing through the night, they can get drenched in sweat. And then if they're wearing cotton, it can just get drenched and make you feel really uncomfortable. Whereas there's different, like I think that wool, like merino wool, I think that helps to wick away your sweat. But I think there's certain fibers that clothing can be made out of that would be something to look into for people if hot flushes are an issue.
Good to know, yeah.
So let's talk about diet and strategies to help reduce hot flushes.
Okay.
Because we know that diet is part of our lifestyle, and we know that lifestyle has implications in hot flush triggers. So there's also things we can do to actually help with hot flushes by eating differently.
And to eliminate those triggers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like eliminating definitely the triggers, but also there's foods that actually are helpful.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Plants with phytoestrogens. So what plants do you think would have phytoestrogens?
I bet soy does.
Yeah, we've talked about this in many different episodes, the immunity, anti-inflammatory, the cancer prevention. And yeah, soy is a good example of a plant food that has phytoestrogens or isoflavones, as they're called. And they do is they mimic estrogen.
Right.
So they can block the estrogen receptors. And what happens is it can help with those triggers it can help with the hot flushes.
Okay.
So I wonder what has soy in it.
Really?
No.
Haven't we been through this before? Oh, that was a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tofu is the obvious one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
What are those things? Edamame beans?
Yeah.
Are they soy?
They are.
I thought so.
Yeah. Roasted soy nuts.
They're delicious.
Oh, yeah.
That mix, it's like got cranberries, like dried cranberries and edamame and almonds, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
It's delicious. But yeah, those things are pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's true. And the edamame beans that you can have for dinner too, like
you just cook them up and
yeah. The pods or the actual pea. So those are soy, and tempeh is another one, and soy milk would be a way to get some soy in your diet. And
tofu, when we say tofu, there's like so many different ways that tofu can be presented. It's not just that brick of like that looks like soft cheese. That's what a lot of people probably think when they think tofu, and they're like, it's that squishy stuff. But there's all different forms of tofu and soy-based, meat alternative type products. And cheese, they make cheese too, right? With soy, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Totally.
So check out the I guess the vegan or the vegetarian part of the grocery store and just see what the different products are if you've never tried them, because there's so many nowadays compared to like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. And it's worth looking up recipes to know what to do with those things. And they're actually really easy to prepare.
Super easy. Yeah.
They're almost like convenient food.
Healthy, convenient food.
Yeah.
Healthy fast food.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, soy has isoflavones, and particularly genistein and diadesin. And those are anti-inflammatory. They're phytoestrogens. They mimic estrogen, as I mentioned. So they actually have this antioxidant effect and anti-inflammatory effect. And then they're actually good for our cardiovascular health too.
Oh, interesting.
So there's lots of good benefits, and they help with bone health. So helping to maintain bone mass through hormone changes, because that's one thing with women going through menopause is they start to have accelerated bone loss because of the loss of estrogen in their system.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's all these things. And the other one actually is flax seeds. Ground flax seeds are excellent. They have, same thing, anti-inflammatory effect. And those lignans in the ground flaxseed, it's the fiber in the flaxseed, like when you grind them and you break open the seed, the lignans have this phytoestrogen effect.
That helps with those symptoms.
Exactly.
The hot flush symptoms.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So, the fiber in the flaxseed also helps to stabilize blood sugar and reduce insulin spikes. And it's a really good source, an excellent source of plant-based omega-3 or the ALA.
Okay.
So that's a really good one to try to add most days, some ground flaxseed, try to have a soy food daily. Those things will help with reducing hot flush triggers or reducing your hot flushes.
Right.
And also including plants with phytoestrogens, so other plants, so actually beans and legumes.
Okay. They have phytoestrogens?
Yeah, just plant-based foods. So
I see.
Actually eating 30 different plants a week is a good recommendation.
I thought you were going to say a day.
No.
That would be a plateful.
It would be. No, 30 different types of plants a week, which is actually not
different. That's still a handful. I mean, different types of plants. Yeah. You're going to have to add some variety. Or maybe we do and we just don't realize it.
Well, I think a lot of the food we eat are plant-based because you think of the oats, you think of barley.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Those are all considered different plants. So it's not just vegetables.
Yeah. I'm just thinking like produce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. Vegetables, fruits, whole grains, nuts, seeds, beans. They're all part of the plant base.
Yeah.
Foods. Yeah. So so those will help. So we mentioned legumes, like chickpeas and kidney beans and lentils, all the different types of beans. We did a whole episode on beans.
Oh, a while ago.
Yeah. Can't remember number.
45 or something like that. 42, somewhere in there.
We'll link it in the show notes too. And then nuts and seeds, another way to get those helpful, beneficial plant foods that can help with hot flushes.
Right.
Whole grains. So having some whole grains in your diet is really important. So if you like pumpernickel or rye bread or the whole wheat bread with seeds and sprouted grain breads.
Those are all good. Yep.
Any whole grain. And I think we did a whole episode on whole grains.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
And vegetables and fruits. So trying to include, a wide variety of colors in the day. So 5 different colors of vegetables and fruits. And then you're going to get those antioxidants, and they have this natural anti-inflammatory effect for your system, which can help with hot flush.
That's probably, you were saying in the beginning about the other countries in the world that have lower levels of hot flush symptoms. Yeah. And I'm thinking of like the Asian diet, which is a lot of vegetables and rice, probably not a lot of fast food, and maybe not as much meat. I'm not sure about that, but
you can see my head shaking.
Oh, yes, I can totally see your head shaking. Yeah.
You got it. You hit the nail on the head. And I think part of it too is the ultra processed foods. So those foods that are
the lack of the ultra processed foods.
Yeah, exactly. So things that have added salts or sodium and added sugars and sweeteners and added preservatives and colors and flavors and added oils that, are refined oils. So all of these elements that are added in those ultra processed foods can actually affect our hormones and can affect our hot flushes.
Right. It's kind of like eating out of your garden rather than eating from the store.
Yeah, right.
A lot of it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Just
the more we
fresh,
can eat
raw food.
Yeah. More of those whole, minimally processed foods. It's going to help with so many areas of your life. And that's a big area too, is going through changes in your lifespan. So menopause is a big change for women. And if, as I mentioned before, men going through prostate cancer treatment, and they are going to be having some hormone changes too. So these items that we're talking about can be beneficial for both cases.
Right, exactly.
A big one too is just hydration and water. Drinking cold water.
Always.
Yeah. That's huge though, especially when you're having hot flushes. You're probably sweating more. You're losing more fluids. So remember how many cups of water we lose on a daily basis just like doing our regular activities of daily living. It's like 10 cups.
Was it really that high? Wow.
Yeah.
Holy.
And we do 2 different episodes on hydration, one last summer, and then we did another one about drinks, like what drinks to use or to drink to help with hydration.
Right.
And yeah, cold water is a really good way to just make sure you're getting hydrated and that your body can work well, and you're replacing those fluids that you're sweating away.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So those are the 5 ways to help reduce hot flushes. Actually, the last one was the breathing, meditation, yoga, and wearing clothing that has the right fibers.
Breathable clothing.
Exactly. So let's go over those again. So the strategies are, number 1, eliminate or reduce the triggers. So having a list and monitoring what are triggers for you. Is it the caffeine that you're drinking? Is it alcohol? Smoking is actually one too, and I forgot to mention that earlier. So cigarette smoking can bring on hot flush, and also hot beverage. So just drinking something that's really hot, piping hot beverages or hot soup can bring on a hot flush. So number 1 is eliminate or reduce the triggers. Number 2, include a soy food daily would be good to get those phytoestrogens, those isoflavones.
Right. Yeah, because they help.
They help, exactly. Yeah. Number 3 would be to have ground flaxseed. So include ground flaxseed, maybe a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons into your oatmeal or into muffin recipe or into a smoothie, or however you would add ground flaxseed into your day would help just for you to get those lignans from the flax seeds.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a nutty flavor, so it's easy enough to add even on a salad or into most of the things Sandra mentioned. I've been using it for a variety of different things, and yeah, it's pretty easy just to add in there. It doesn't really change the flavor.
Yeah, good. Exactly. And if you could always split it up and have some at breakfast and some in another meal so that you're not having 2 tablespoons all at once, but, over the day.
Yeah, exactly.
And then number 4 is trying to include at least 5 vegetables and fruits daily to get those antioxidants and polyphenols from those bright colors and isoflavones from the plant foods with estrogens like the legumes and nuts and seeds, whole grains and vegetables and fruits.
Right.
So 5 vegetables and fruits daily. And then the last one is the meditation, the deep breathing, yoga, and wearing clothing that is comfortable and not too tight, and drinking enough water.
There you go.
Yeah.
That should help.
That helps with when you're having hot flushes, because of that thermoregulation is not functioning right in the brain, and we're having these fluctuations of hormones, and that get the hot flushes going. We can actually do something in our diet to help.
Exactly. Well, there we go. Well, hopefully that helps everyone who may or may not be experiencing those things. And if you are, then let us know if that helped. Let us know kind of what worked for you and what didn't, and we can all figure it out together.
Yeah, it's great getting questions from the listeners, and we love hearing feedback and any reviews that you have. And also just it takes you 10 seconds to just put a little 5-star review on the Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. And we really appreciate that you take time to listen to Rob and I just discuss these issues every day.
Exactly. It's mostly Sandra and I just add some color.
No, you add the fun and the humor.
Exactly. There you go. You can also check out our website. There's new things popping up there all the time. That's mywifethedietitian.com. And like Sandra said, if you have questions or comments or anything like that, you can email us at our email, which is mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to check out our social media pages. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And we have another episode, a mini episode, Nutrition Nuggets, coming up on Wednesday. So make sure to tune in for that. And then another full episode next week. So in the meantime, have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.